École Saint-Thomas is hosting its annual Carnaval showcase this week. The event is based off the Carnaval de Quebec. Our Nicole Gruber has more on this story.
Students and staff spent their day filled with activities inspired by Carnaval de Quebec.
So for Carnival for us is a celebration of the language, the culture, but it's a coming together of people. And usually we end our Carnival with a great big breakfast. We feed the entire school community and their families. The staff get up at like 6 in the morning and start making pancakes. And last year, or 2 years ago, we fed over 800 people.
While they may not have axe throwing, students and parent volunteers built their own ice castles, special guests joined virtually to teach students French traditions, and they have French treats such as maple syrup on snow to enjoy.
We design events for our students that allow them to play outside. Pardon me, unfortunately, with this weather this week, we haven't been able to. We had opening ceremonies yesterday with some workshops that we bring in. So with COVID, of course, we're doing everything virtually, but in the past we've brought presenters right into the schools, and it gives the children a chance to listen to authentic French speakers from around the country that share with them.
Students started celebrating Carnival on Monday, and it will continue throughout the week until Friday. And they still have a few things to look forward to, including the big pancake breakfast, which will be virtual this year on Friday. For Primetime Local News, I'm Nicole Gruber.
A local nonprofit is getting a break on their property tax bill. The Lloydminster Area Brain Injury Society got the green light from City Council last week and have a property tax exemption for 2022 and 2023. The nonprofit organization tax-exempt policy has been in place since 2018 and allows local nonprofits to apply to have their property taxes waived.
In this case, Labus came forward with an application, and that is allowed to happen, so they'll get 2 years of tax exemption before it's brought back to be qualified again in 2023 with the other 43 or so nonprofit organizations.
43 organizations were approved for 3-year exemptions last year, and they, along with Labus, will be able to apply for exemptions again in 2023.
And I encourage nonprofits to look at that process if they haven't. Basically, it'll be in effect for the next year now to get their form in place. But once they're onto that list, the city will be in contact with them to ensure that they are still eligible.
The city estimates that the Labus tax exemption will cost the overall tax base $1,000. One local teacher is the recipient of an Excellence in Catholic Education Award, which highlights her work in and beyond the classroom.
We congratulate you on being awarded the Excellence in Catholic Education Award. Well done. Boys and girls, can you cheer Mrs. Rorquist on?
That was teacher Sarah Rorquist's reaction to finding out she won the award. She's been teaching in Lloydminster for the past 12 years, and at Mother Teresa she teaches 36 pre-K students a day. Students and staff showed their appreciation by gathering in the halls to congratulate her. Rorquist wasn't quite sure what exactly got her the award.
To be honest, I don't even know. I think it's just what I do every day. I put my whole heart into this school and into my classroom. It is a huge honor. I think everyone in this building is deserving of it. Everyone works their heart off and does everything that they can. So to be spotlighted for this is just a huge, huge honor.
Rorquist was recognized for not only her work with the students, but what she has done with local senior homes and more around the community. As surprised as she was for receiving the award, Rorquist thanks the other teachers for the work they do each day.
They have supported me in everything. They're always there for me no matter what. If I'm having a bad day, if I'm having a bad day, they're for me, and if I'm vice versa. If they're having a bad day, I'm always there for them too.
To receive the award, she was recognized by peers and staff. The school was proud that one of their own was chosen for the award and of the work she's done.
It really is quite amazing to see the level of talent and gifts that Sarah has and the staff at Mother Teresa School. It means a lot to see, and we're coming on our 10 years of Mother Teresa School being open, and we're pretty fortunate to have a teacher like Sarah on staff.
And that's it for this week's Beyond the Classroom.
At Lakeland College, our students are challenged to go beyond the classroom, so when industry knocks, they're ready to thrive. Learn more at lakelandcollege.ca.
February 23rd will mark the return of Anti-Bullying Day, where Canadians throughout the nation will sport pink shirts to spread awareness. In anticipation, the local co-op is launching its Kindness Wins fundraiser, as our Tate Laycraft took the time to learn more.
Joining me virtually via Zoom is Christine Konorik from the Lloydminster and District Co-op, as she's here to talk the launch of a fundraiser which is set to honor Pink Shirt Day, which is coming up later this month. So to Christine, I'll say welcome to the show. But can you tell our viewers just a little bit about this fundraiser and all that you guys have planned?
Thank you so much for having me, Tate. It's an absolute pleasure. We're super excited. The co-op is always very excited during the month of February. As you mentioned, it's Pink Shirt Day at the end of February, the last Wednesday in February across Canada. And Kindness Wins is our localized spin on Pink Shirt Day. And we're extra excited this year because we have a few new partnerships that we are announcing as part of Kindness Wins, all in benefit of a local nonprofit, Beyond Borders Circle of Change.
And obviously, a big part of this fundraiser has to do with the shirts, which are designed by a local artist. So could you tell our viewers a little bit about the apparel, as well as the woman behind them?
You betcha. So we've got some limited edition Kindness Wins merchandise. We sell it every year across all of our gas stations and our 2 grocery stores, one here in Lloydminster, of course, and one in Neilburg. And the limited edition pieces are unique every year. So there's hoodies, t-shirts, crew necks for adult sizing as well as for youth sizing. And what we do is donate a portion of every single piece sold to Beyond Borders Circle of Change. And we're very fortunate this year to have partnered again with Lloydminster artist Brandy Hofer. She has designed the 2022 merchandise. There's a lot of symbolism again in the design that she's put together. There's 3 geometric pieces along the top of it that symbolize the community and the strength and the kindness and compassion we have for one another. And underneath is sort of an upside down rainbow, or a fingerprint, if you will, that symbolizes there's always hope after a storm. And as people who've experienced bullying, whether in their personal life or they've witnessed it, they can know that, there is, I guess, hope after that storm if you've gone through that.
And just to set you up for a bit of a plug here, for anyone who might be interested in learning more about your Kindness Wins fundraiser, or maybe they're 100% set on buying a shirt, where's a good spot for them to go?
They can purchase the apparel at any of our grocery stores. So we have 2 grocery stores that are part of Lloydminster and District Co-op, one here in Lloydminster, of course, and one in Neilburg, Saskatchewan. As well, all 4 of our gas stations on the north, south, east, and west of Lloydminster carry the merchandise. It moves very quickly, Tate. It sells out every year. We're so thankful for the support of the community. The co-op doesn't do this as a moneymaker for us. We do it for the community. We do it because the community has said this matters to us. It matters that our children and our teenagers and even us as adults have a way to show that we stand for inclusion and respect and kindness. And the best way to defeat bullying is by doing the opposite of it, which is showing those exact behaviors, showing kindness, showing compassion, showing respect, showing inclusion. And I think that that's a really important message.
Once again, that's Christine Konorik from the Lloydminster and District Co-op. Thanks so much for doing this, Christine.
You betcha. I appreciate you, and I hope you have an awesome day.
Now we'll go to Tate Laycraft once again for a look at your weather forecast.
Thank you very much, Jasmine. We will start with a quick look at things currently and how they stand at the Lloydminster Airport. It's currently -26, but the real killer is the wind. With the chill, it is minus 38. We're in the midst of this cold snap. It is supposed to disappear over the next couple of days, but we'll save that for later when we take a final look at our 7-day forecast. Jumping ahead across the region, though, first starting out west, up in Lac La Biche, minus 22, Bonnyville and St. Paul, minus 27, Vegreville, minus 23. As you get further west, it's a little bit warmer. In Edmonton, it's minus 19. Wainwright and Vermilion, minus 24, and in Provost, it's minus 23. Switching sides here, up in Isle of La Crosse, it's minus 24. Green Lake, minus 26. Pierceland at minus 25. Meadow Lake and St. Walburg, both at minus 27. Maidstone at that same temperature as well. Then down in North Battleford, it's minus 29. And in Macklin, minus 24. Taking a more in-depth look at North Battleford, though, as we mentioned, minus 29 overnight. It's expected to dip down to minus 34, so be ready for that cold. Tomorrow morning, a little bit warmer. Minus 24 is the expectation. Then switching over to Cold Lake, we are expecting a overnight temperature of minus 29, and tomorrow it will warm up similarly to North Battleford, predicting a temperature of minus 23. Then in Lloyd overnight, also expected to dip down to minus 29, and also tomorrow minus 23. 7-day forecast, though, let's take a quick look here. Thursday through Sunday, we are expecting those cold temperatures to continue to roll. Tomorrow, it's supposed to be minus 23. That's the high. The low, minus 29. Similar on Friday, though the high is a little bit more optimistic. The trade-off is there will be a bit of snow. The low is minus 28. Saturday, temperatures are supposed to not vary quite as much. It will be minus 17. That's the high with a low of minus 18. Before we move on to those sunshiny days where we're expected to see a little bit of a warm-up, the temperature last year at this time actually varied between a high of minus 9 and a low of minus 17. That was February 2nd, 2021. Monday through Wednesday, though, the cold will start to fade away. The sun will shine through those clouds. Expecting some positive temperatures Monday and Tuesday. That is all the time we have for right now, though. Jasmine King will be back with more news after the break.
The Spring Community Registration event will be the best place to register for spring activities in Lloydminster. With more, here's Thomas Wildman.
Today we have Cindy Rekimovich, the manager of programs and events for the city of Lloydminster. And today we have her on talking about the Spring Community Registration event. And so thank you for being here with us, Cindy.
Thank you for having me.
My first question, Cindy, could you just give us an overview of what the Spring Community Registration event will be?
For sure. So it is on Tuesday, February 8th from 4 to 8 at the Service Sports Center. We're welcoming all individuals or families want to come down and see what organizations are taking registrations or looking for volunteers. It's a way for the public that can gain information on different organizations that exist in Lloydminster.
And so, Cindy, what organizations will be available at the Spring Community Registration?
There'll be anything from play schools to sports to nonprofit organizations. So we have a variety of different organizations that typically attend.
How many organizations are going to be present so far at the Spring Community Registration event?
So far, we have 9 tables of different organizations. So we are looking for other organizations. We are taking registrations if other organizations want to get a table and provide that, provide a registration night or provide information to the general public. We are open to taking other organizations.
And if an organization would like to register, when would the deadline be to get a table at the event?
I would probably take up registrations till this Friday. So if anybody wants to reach out, you can call the Service Sports Center and we can get you registered.
And is the city of Lloydminster having any tables at the registration event?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have a couple of tables. The museum will have a table and we'll have a table for the Service Sports Center.
So thank you so much for this interview.
Thank you.
And now we'll take a look at today's stock market prices.
Today's oil prices are brought to you by First General Services.
Welcome back. Now for an update on a local raffle fundraiser, let's once again go to Tate Lakecraft.
It's time now to check in on the Lloydminster Exhibition's Chase the Ace fundraiser raffle. And joining me to talk about it is father of the project, Mr. Ray Foy. Welcome to the show, Ray.
Well, thank you for the invite.
Diving right in, as per usual, there is another draw tonight, Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. So where does the jackpot currently stand right now?
Yeah, well, tonight's jackpot, if the Ace of Hearts is drawn, the winner would receive about $65,000, depending on ticket sales today.
And for people who are maybe unfamiliar with your raffle, could you just touch base on what this money helps to fund?
Yeah, well, the raffle is going to be for facility and equipment upgrades here at the Lloyd X and some operational costs, so that we can continue to support, the city of Lloyd and surrounding area with the facilities and events that people expect from us. So.
And lastly, just before we say goodbye here, for anyone who might be interested in getting in on the raffle, where's a good spot for them to go if they're interested in acquiring the tickets, and how much do they cost?
Well, you can get your tickets in person here at the Lloyd X main office, or you can e-transfer Chase the Ace at lloydexh.com. And please include your name, phone number, and email address. The email address is how you receive your tickets back, or off our Lloyd X website. I would really like to thank everybody that's participated in this for the support that they've given the Lloyd X, and definitely goes towards a good cause, and it'll come back to the community, in a roundabout way. So.
Thanks so much for the check-in, Ray.
And now we'll take a look at today's commodity prices. Currently sitting in 6th place in the AJHL's North Division, the Lloydminster Bobcats have heated up since 2022. The team has picked up points in 7 of their last 10 games and are 4 wins over 500. Evan Kenny has a more in-depth look at their past month.
Well, following a very successful month in the AJHL, the Lloydminster Bobcats now sit with a record of 25, 21, and 2. Joining me today to break down their successful month of January is head coach and general manager Nigel Dubé. Nigel, thank you for joining me and chatting today. Now, as I mentioned, very successful month of January. Great way to start off 2022. The team went 6-3-1 in that month, specifically playing against teams who are near you guys within the standings. Now, just touch on this past month of play and what it's been like for the team.
Yeah, I think for us, we obviously had a little bit of a pause there when we did that, and I think that it made the month a lot shorter once we got back to it. So for us to come out where we did throughout the month, I thought was a productive month, especially with the pause, with the injuries that we had in the month of January. That I liked where our group was able to produce at. At the same time, I think it helped in our growth too, because there were some guys that got some put in some situations that maybe they wouldn't always see, and I think that's going to benefit us long term.
And Nigel, just to touch on your point there, the trade deadline was earlier in the month of January. Just how have these new players fit into the lineup?
Yeah, I think they've done a great job. They came in, they contributed on the ice. They've been great citizens in the community. For them, they were right after the trade deadline, thrown right into it. 5 games in 7 days, and it hasn't slowed down from there. It's actually amazing right now how little we're actually practicing just with so many games going on. So for them, a lot of video work and kind of the whiteboard work to get a hold of what we're doing here. So they've done a great job of that. And you know, they fit right into the culture that we have here in the dressing room. That's huge. So yeah, it was quite the month of January. But you know, at the end of the day, it was a pretty good one.
Now, 12 games will be played in the month of February. And in these final 12 games, they're against all teams that you have beaten this season, with the exception of the Brooks Bandits. I guess just with that being said, you know, how do you feel going down the stretch?
Well, I think it's big. And I think, you know, you're going into those games and with the standings the way they are, they're obviously very important games. And the other part too is that you know, we're going to have 7 games at the Civic in the month of February. So we haven't had that yet, that many games a month at home. I think that you know, that's exciting for us to be at home. We love our fans, we love our rink. That's a big part of it, and we feed off the energy there. But when, you know, when we're playing against those teams, we know that this point of the year, and you see, you know, looking around the league last night, even every night is a tough one, and you got to be ready to go. And I think our group looks forward to that challenge, especially the teams that we're playing.
And now just touch on one player in specific. He is leading the team in goals as well as points. That is Ethan Acoin. He was able to score 9 goals last month, 13 points in total. And Nigel, you know, it's not just offense that he's been contributing, but you've also been using him in different situations.
Well, it's amazing. You know, we have you know, fans that come out and watch our practice in the afternoon and have their cup of coffee and check out what's going on. And had an opportunity this week to talk to one of our longtime season ticket holders, and you know, he was amazed at number 11. Number 11's 200-foot game, and how he can back check now and how hard he works defensively. And I think that's something, you know, that we really worked with Ethan on, was being more of a complete 200-foot player and being able to play all 3 zones. And you know, he's accepted that challenge. I think he's looked forward to that challenge. He had a shorthanded goal on the weekend. You know, prior to Christmas, he wasn't a penalty killer for us now, and then now he's one of the go-to guys. So outside of his offensive play, I think that he's been able to contribute in a lot of ways, you know, on our team in all 3 zones. You go back to the Drayton Valley game, and you know, he was out for the last minute and 14 seconds when we were up by a goal. And those are the things that he looks forward to. He's putting his body in the positions to block those shots and, you know, go that extra mile. And that's huge. And it's, you know, good to see him have the success, and his teammates too have the success around him and help him in achieving that.
And finally, Nigel, you know, last bit of the season, last month coming up here, and then heading into the postseason. Now, every team is really, you know, has something to work on. What would that be for the Bobcats?
Well, first and foremost, we got to get healthy. You know, I think for us, that's a big one. I think we can get a couple bodies back as early as this weekend, which for us would be huge, and get them into games. And, you know, we're going to get Tyson Kwolek back in the middle of February, and he hasn't played since the first second week of November. I think that's a big part. And, you know, to get guys back healthy and then to stay healthy too at the same time. You know, and when we can do that, I think we're going to grow as a group. And when everybody's getting reps, whether it be in the few practice we have or the games, I think, you know, that's a big part of it, where we can kind of get into a rhythm here, you know, with everybody in the lineup and not trying to piece a lineup together every night. I think that's going to be a big part of it.
Well, Nigel, thank you very much for taking this time and joining me. Hopefully this upcoming month is as successful as the last month. This was Nigel Dubé, head coach and general manager with the Lloydminster Bobcats.
And now we'll go to Tate Latecraft for a second look at this evening's forecast.
Yes, thank you very much, Jasmine. We'll start with just a quick look again at the Lloydminster Airport. Current temperature, minus 26 degrees. Again, with that wind chill, which is absolutely brutal, minus 38. So stay inside if you can, by all means. But taking a look across the nation here, we'll start out east, up in Whitehorse. It is minus 21. Down in Vancouver, very, very pleasant, 1 degree, not too shabby. In Edmonton, minus 19, Regina, minus 27, and up in Yellowknife, it is the coldest we've seen over there, minus 32. Then taking a look at Winnipeg, minus 26. Quebec City is minus 1. Toronto, even 0 degrees. Iqaluit is 14. St. John's minus 6. And Halifax also sitting at 0 degrees. And it appears there we go. We'll take a look over here at North Battleford. It's minus 29 currently. The sun is shining. Murnum, it is minus 23. Cold Lake, minus 24. Same in Isle of La Crosse. Edmonton, again, minus 19. Meadow Lake sitting at minus 27. Provost and Saskatoon, the sun is shining, the first of which is at minus 23, and Saskatoon at minus 27. Then overnight temperatures in Pierceland, it's expected to drop to minus 29. Unity, minus 34. Wainwright, minus 26. Isle of La Crosse, also minus 29. Then minus 31 in Paradise Hill. Myrna, meanwhile, minus 23. Meadow Lake is minus 31, Bonnyville minus 29, and Provost minus 23. A quick look at your 3-day forecast, however. Thursday, that sun is going to shine through some clouds, a high of minus 23 and a low of minus 29. The wind chill again, making things much, much worse, a low of minus 38. Friday, snow is expected to fall from those skies with a high of minus 9 and a low of minus 28. Wind chill, it will be a little bit warmer than we're expecting tomorrow, minus 26. Saturday, meanwhile, we can expect a high of minus 17 and a low of minus 18, so not as much variation in that temperature, or it's not expected to at least, and the wind chill will be about minus 21. That is all the time we have for right now, though. Jasmine King will be back with some more news after the break.
We are back in the new year with Stephanie Dobson. Stephanie is a lawyer and mediator here in Lloydminster, and this is another episode of Healthy Thriving Family After Divorce. Stephanie, January was International Divorce Month. We just kind of passed that point. We're in February now, but tell me about the month.
Yeah, so January is dubbed International Divorce Month because for divorce professionals, it's a month where we see a huge spike in families around the world who are deciding to embark on a separation or divorce. And as a lot of our viewers know, I have a particular passion for talking with families, informing them, and helping them to learn more about divorce. So despite COVID having gotten in our way of our January episodes, I thought we could still capture the education part of Divorce Month. So for today, I've created a top 3 tips for what viewers can consider if they're looking into separation or divorce.
Okay, and we will start with your first tip, Stephanie, which is make sure you get as much information as you can, get informed prior to separating or divorcing.
Yeah, so hopefully we've caught people before necessarily they've decided to separate, but what you'll find is that once the ball starts rolling into the separation or divorce, decisions often need to be made rather quickly, and sometimes without really having an opportunity to really fully think through everything. So I've got 3 things you might want to think about to get yourself informed. First, start learning about how your family finances work. You may be the financial manager of the family, or you may really have no idea what assets or debts you have, where you have bank accounts. With our clients, we have a checklist. So we start helping people to help them to gather things. And usually if you haven't made that decision to separate, it's easier to not really have a deadline to start gathering those documents. Second, you may want to look for some online resources. Of course, the web is full of information about separation or divorce. So there's 2 ideas here that I have for you for online education. The first one is called the Parenting After Separation course. So this is a mandatory course for most parents who are separating or divorcing, both in Alberta and Saskatchewan. So have a look into that. It's an online resource. Another one is a lot of people will be familiar with my e-learning platform called Healthy Thriving Family After Divorce. So that's hosted by my company called Up a Notch Learning. Lots of different ways to learn on there. You can check it out at upanotchlearning.com or go to our Henka Divorce website under our resources section, or even on YouTube. So the third way, my suggestion to get informed is to have a consultation with a lawyer, just to help you to get a little bit of more information to get you prepared before you start making some decisions.
And tip number 2, Stephanie, is to think short-term first. Tell me about that.
Well, it's best, certainly when you're just embarking on separation, is to avoid those long-term permanent decisions. So there's really two short-term decisions to be made, or topics. First is parenting. So we know that kids do best with stability, routine, and consistency. So you may need to start talking with the kids about the separation, but also with your co-parent, is to start planning your parenting schedule. So on our website, we have tons of resources for you to help plan your parenting schedule on your own, or people might be familiar with our workbook that we use to help people with those initial decisions. And on the finances, get familiar with, of course, as I said earlier, your monthly bills, but you'll have to plan as you move from one household into two as to who's going to pay for what in the short term.
And your final tip for today, Stephanie, is to take your time before going into the separation and divorce process. And why is that?
Well, it's really hard once you start throwing around the big D word, the divorce word. It's really hard to take that back. So make sure that it's what you want. So I've got a couple of books. I love reading about different ways and approaches to thinking through separation and divorce. So I've got two suggestions for you, our viewers here today. So the first one is called The 7 Principles for Making Marriage Work. And the title of this book tells it all. It's about how to make it work, not necessarily about how to give up. So it encourages the reader to look at how you conduct yourself in your relationship, and it helps you to be part of the solution as opposed to part of the problem. So the second one is called Too Good to Leave and Too Good to Leave, Too Bad to Stay. So this book is really about getting off the fence. It's about getting out of that relationship ambivalence and deciding to either stay or to go. And if you decide to stay, stay and be happy. If you decide to go, make that decision and go on forward. I love these two books, so hopefully they'll be helpful to our viewers.
Well, thank you so much, Stephanie. It's great to speak with you again. First time here in the new year, and we'll be back to chat with you next week.
You bet. Thanks, Stacey.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery and Furniture House, downtown Lloydminster.
Joining us today for Primetime Local News is American Horror Story star Naomi Grossman, speaking on her new film called Bite Me. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Well, we're glad to be able to have you on here. Now, this Bite Me film is a wild vampire romantic comedy, and it's going to be coming to digital on February 8th. Now, what's all involved in this film? What can you tell us about it?
Yeah, well, it's just in time for Valentine's, of course. It's a rom-com, but it's not your average, Lifetime fare. This is it's the love story between a real life vampire and the IRS agent that audits her. So it's a little bit fish out of water. There's a big vampires versus Christian scene in Central Park, when hilarity ensues, of course. It's fun. I play the female lead, the vampire girl's best friend, the firebrand leader of this vampire cult. And these, by the way, are not your average vampires. These are not supernatural beings. They're not like feeding on people in the night. These are like actual real life people who believe that they derive their energy from blood. And let's face it, these days, nothing surprises me anymore. So yes, I do believe that these people exist, and indeed they do. Naomi McDougall-Jones, the other Naomi, who's of course the star of this film and as well as writer, was inspired. She was on the set of Boardwalk Empire and got to talking with one of the background extras who happens to be a vampire, one of these vampires. And she was fascinated, of course, and then fell down this YouTube rabbit hole, wrote her into a love story. It's which is really fun and with a really great cast. Christian Coulson from the Harry Potter series is in it. He's the IRS agent. Also Annie Golden, who happens to be one of my favorites from Orange is the New Black. So it's a fun group and it's a fun film.
And like you already brought up a bit earlier, especially for romantic comedies, this has definitely an interesting twist that's going to make it fascinating. And for some serious rom-com fans out there, what do you think the reactions will be like when they see this film?
Well, I mean, I think it's refreshing because we haven't seen these kinds of movies, since Nora Ephron died. Like, it's not these. This isn't a genre that's it was the 80s really before since we saw a proliferation of this sort of film. So I think in many regards people are going to be just excited to see this kind of thing again. But like I said, it's not traditional. It has almost like kind of a Heathers feel. Like it's definitely it's for the oddballs. It's sort of a celebration of the weirdos out there, where we realize like actually the weirdos aren't that weird, and sometimes the normal people are weird too. We find the kind of square IRS agent at the vampire ball where he kind of like he really digs it. Like it's not his scene clearly, but it's and conversely our female lead, Sarah, who's got a face tattoo and blue hair, and she's actually pretty normal. Like she really likes this square IRS agent. So yeah, I think there's truth in that. I think there's some wisdom there. As a hopeless romantic myself, who has not met her IRS agent, but
And I personally think the writers did a really great choice and interesting idea to be able to come up with this storyline for this rom-com. And it's going to keep some normal rom-com fans, very fascinated and hooked already just from seeing how different it is. Now, you've been in many projects, but your best well-known, and of course, we can already see behind you there in that photo, is your character named Pepper on American Horror Story. You've been labeled as even one of the best American Horror Story characters ever. How has it been transitioning from Pepper in that role to being in this rom-com?
I started in comedy. So this is this is very much in my wheelhouse, and where I feel kind of comfortable. It's just people aren't used to seeing me in this. That's what's sort of interesting, is that I'm just a comedian who like accidentally fell down this horror hole, and don't get me wrong, it's been great. Like I'm not about to bite the hand that feeds me, if you'll pardon the vampire humor. But at the same time, like getting back to kind of my roots, and doing some sort of kind of over the top character comedy work, but with kind of a hint of horror is a perfect. It's like I'm marrying the two genres, and I think it's fun. I think it's fun for I mean, like I said, this is not a traditional horror movie, but for the people who love a vampire story, it's definitely that. And yeah, for people who want to see me do something, not dramatic. Although I don't know, now that I think about it, there's some dramatic scenes. I warn Sarah against this relationship. Like better, girl. Like there's definitely some. I'm not trying to paint this as some sort of slapstick comedy. It's not. It's a rom-com, grounded in truth and grounded in real life situations.
And with the pandemic and Valentine's Day coming around the corner here, I'm sure many rom-com fans are going to be excited to see this delicious new ad that they're able to watch on the 8th. Now, is there anything else you'd like to add where they can access this film in case, many people might be unaware?
Yes. So right now, people can pre-order on iTunes and Apple TV. But on February 8th, that's when it's available everywhere. That is iTunes, Apple TV, Google Play, and Amazon.
Perfect. Well, once again, thank you so much for giving us your time today, Naomi. And it was really nice to be able to speak with you about this. And for all the rom-com fans out there, make sure you're checking out Bite Me, and it's coming out on February 8th.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Stay warm up there, and hopefully this movie will help you keep warm. It's a heartwarming movie.
Taking one last look at a 7-day forecast here, as we've gone over already the next 4 days, it's going to be cold. Monday, though, that sun will shine through those clouds, and we can expect some positive temperatures. Supposed to be a high of 4 degrees and a low of 2. Tuesday, more of the same, not quite as warm, a high of 2 and a low of 1. Then on Wednesday, that sun will disappear back into those clouds a little bit more. The high is supposed to be 3 degrees, but it will get colder again. The low is an expected minus 20.
Thank you, Tate, and thank you for joining us on Primetime Local News this evening, and have a great night.